Hey guys, it is Spooky Noodles, and the hat is back on. I've made a few videos without any hats, so that was a little bit weird. A lot of the videos I just woke up and either haven't left the house, or I literally just woke up and just rolled over and decided to make a video. This video is about books that I DNF'd that I plan on reading next year. Books that I either gave up on or that I just fell out of the I don't want to say spirit of reading it. I want to like a lot of these are like holiday themed books, and when the holidays passed, I just didn't feel like reading them anymore. I don't know if you guys have that same sensation when you're reading these type of books, but I just kind of fall out of the holiday spirit and just kind of put these books down. So I don't know about you guys, but these are books that I DNF'd that I plan on picking up again sometime next year. Alright, so you saw the intro, you know what this video is about. It's books that I DNF'd that I will be picking up sometime next year. This book doesn't really count as a DNF since I read like 2 or 3 pages then put it down, but I thought I'd include it just to make the video a little longer. I know this is cheating, but I read like 3 pages of House of Illusions by Ruby G. Jensen. This is going to be impossible to pick up on camera, but yeah, I just wanted to read what her writing was like, and I found out real quick that her writing is pretty like I like her writing is what I'm trying to say. I heard great things about House of Illusions, and yeah, Ruby Jean Jensen is on my list of writers that I want to read, and if the person that read it is true, what he said is factual. This book is a coming of age story between 2 girls and their life with living with a father with a carnival, kind of. This is about a House of Illusions, so the House of Mirrors type thing. Murders happen in it basically, and they continue to happen as they grow up, I guess. I don't really know. I could read the back for you guys if you want. I'll do one better. I'll read the prologue for you guys. Well, I'll read a little bit of the prologue for you guys. I won't read the whole thing because we'll be here for a while if we do that. So I'm just going to read a little bit so you guys can get a little bit of a taste for her writing. Prologue, 1927. Early morning light struggled through the shadows on the midway. The crowd was gone, the rides were still, the music from the merry-go-round had been replaced by a lonesome whine of the wind, and the sobs of the little girl as she ran, her short, stubby legs stumbling at times, almost causing her to fall. She was following her daddy, who was still wearing his bright clown suit. She saw him go up the steps of the House of Illusions and disappear through the doorway. With tears blinding her, with her hands catching splinters on the rough steps, she called out, "Daddy! Daddy!" But there was no answer. Behind somewhere in the tent was her mother, packing her bags to leave, and Daddy was going into the House of Illusions, where it would be so hard to find him. She struggled up the steps and into the shadows of the unlighted mirror house. Somewhere in the maze ahead, she heard sounds that froze her tears. Her daddy wasn't alone. She almost turned away, fear driving her back out into the early dawn and down the steps again. She stood still in the corridor of mirrors. Then she caught a glimpse of red, one of the colors in her daddy's clown suit, the color of his big clown mouth and the funny hair on the top of his head. She fought her way forward toward him, seeing dozens of little girls like herself in the mirrors, all running, their fat little arms out, their mouth hanging open, and tears sliding fresh out of their eyes. Then the clown was there too, somewhere separate from the little girls. His arms were up and there was something tiny glittering in the air in front of him, spinning, casting dark lights like darts in the mirrors. Dark lights, evil green, gray, swift, and piercing. Shattered by the fragments of the mirrors were all the colors, red, blue, green, purple, more colors the little girls hadn't learned. And now, suddenly, added to the colors was a great shadow falling over it all. It was coming down like a huge bird, wings spread toward the colors of the clown suit and the spinning thing that hung in the air, hanging by a thread from the clown's white hand. The glittering object fell from the hand of the clown and rolled, and the child say it no more. And the child saw it no more. My bad. Her eyes were on the clown suit, her daddy's costume, and the great black wings that were beating it down. Her cries echoed along the hallways of the House of Illusions, absorbed, caught, and held. She saw the clown suit on the floor. Her daddy had fallen. The great black bird was gone. The little girls ran toward each other, into each other, but when she put her hands out and felt only the cold, slick glass, she fought her way along the maze, through the mirrored corridors, and suddenly her daddy was there, at her feet. All the colors of his suit and the funny red yarn hair of his head were lying on the strange, distorted heap. She fell upon him, but felt only the hard floor of the mirror house. She sat up and picked up the clown suit. It hung empty in her arms. Well, it says hands, but I screwed up. And then it leads to chapter 1. I did not plan on reading that whole thing, but as soon as I started, I realized I wasn't going to stop, so I apologize if you guys found that boring. I actually found that very thrilling, and that's exactly what happened last time. I read the prologue, I got super excited, but then realized I was reading a book currently, so I put the book down and never got back to it. That's why I DNF'd it. I don't know if it counts though, because all I did was read the prologue, which is only 3 pages long. I plan on picking this one up sometime next year. It is in the TBR, coming of age TBR, because I hear that technically it's a coming of age story. If that's right, I don't know if that's correct or not, but regardless, this is going to be my first Ruby Jean Jensen book. Then I'm going to read Pendulum eventually. And yeah, this is like a haunted house of mirrors, basically. House of Illusions. And yeah, Ruby Jean Jensen's writing is just so addicting. It's like you start reading it and you can't really stop. At least that's how I feel when I was reading that. I fell into like a trance and just started reading, you know? Again, I don't know if that's just me or if that's everybody. I don't even know if this is the first printing of the book. I think this is a second printing, actually. I think the original one has like pink or purple lettering. So mine has white and blue, which actually kind of work better. Fortunately, it's really hard to see both of the cover images, especially on camera. You're not going to see that. You're not going to see that. This book I hear great things about, and definitely a book I want to pick back up later sometime next year. So I'm going to put that back over here. And we shall talk about the next book. Now, picture the scene. It's 2019. You just read 2 really good books. You just read a really good book in The October Boys by Adam Millard. Top 4 for your coming of age list. And you wanted to read another Halloween story. But you realize Halloween is fastly approaching, and you're already reading Mr. Glowbones and Other Halloween Tales, short story collection. So you're like, okay, I can definitely manage 2 books. So you start and pick up one, thinking you're gonna finish it, just to be disappointed and not finish it. The writing was okay, but it just didn't grab you as much as you wish it would. That's the situation I found myself in. Halloween was fastly approaching, like fast. It was like there, like that. And October seemed to be over before I knew it. I read The October Boys, and then sometime in the beginning of November, I finished Mr. Glowbones and Other Halloween Tales. I found that it's hard for me to juggle 2 books at once, especially that I thought I could do a short story collection alongside a novel, but then I found conflicting in the times, and I didn't have as much reading time as I had, and as soon as Halloween passed up, this book just I lost my Halloween spirit, and this book is about Halloween, and that's Prank Night by David Robbins, and it's kind of about the day before Halloween, but everything goes down on Halloween. So, ignore the punch mark in there. I found out what that means. It means that this book was never sold off the shelf, and someone punched a hole through it so they can take it back and get their money back for it, and this would be tossed into the trash, but someone was good enough and took the throwaway book and donated it. And eventually it ended up in my hands. So I'm so thankful that I own this book. Trying to remember what page I left off on. Here we go. I have a bookmark, and it's my favorite bookmark, by the way. My Winter Classic ticket. I found a bunch of, a lot more of these Winter Classic tickets, so I laminated more of these. But this is the one that's very special to me because I used it as a bookmark for so long, and my sister was kind enough to laminate it for me. So yeah, I read a little bit of this. I read 194 pages out of, let's see here, I basically got almost 50% there, and it has 365 pages. This is definitely a book I want to pick up again sometime next year. I'm hoping maybe I'll get into the Halloween spirit, and I'll finish this book. So probably around Halloween, I'll start this book again. But I do expect to pick it up again sometime next year. And yeah, David Robbins is a pretty good writer. I'm not saying he's a wonderful writer. He's a good writer. But I'm a little biased because I think all people who write a book are pretty good writers. I mean, to finish a book is just amazing, and for me to read 194 pages and still be reading it, is crazy. I DNF'd it because I fell out of the Halloween spirit, and the next holiday was Thanksgiving, and I was starting to get into the Thanksgiving spirit. And there's not really any Thanksgiving stories, so I just moved on to the next story, which was I started Fear in summertime, and then I decided to pick that one up again because I technically DNF'd Fear by Ronald Kelly, but then I picked it back up in November and I destroyed it. Just read so much in such a little amount of time. I've never read a book that fast before, but I kind of forgot about Prank Night after, because I read Fear and it was one of my favorite books of all time. Then I forgot to pick this book back up, so I'm gonna definitely pick it up sometime next year. I expect to read it sometime in Halloween, if I can recall what happened 190 pages in. From my recollection, it's about this creature that's haunting this town basically and killing people, and sorry, my dog was doing something. And this one guy's trying to report it and figure out what's going on. So that's at least what I gathered from it. It's very cheesy, and it's just a book that I find really fun. I think Paperback Mania, that's the YouTube channel. I don't remember his name. Paperback Maniac. I forget his name, but he always has these cool intros where he goes, "What up, Hombre?" or "What up, Snowflake?" And he's a good guy, and he recently got a bunch of David Robbins books. He read Spook Night, and he liked the cheesiness, so he bought a bunch of them, and I did the same. I liked this book all the way up to 194 pages, and I bought a bunch of his books too. So I own a bunch of his books, but I need to continue this book soon. It's a really good book. It's really fun, I should say. Not really good book, but it's fun. So I need to continue reading it. So sometime next year, I'm gonna jump back in it. All right. Sorry about that. I'll probably make a cut so you don't see that. Okay, next is a book that I actually recently picked up, and this is what this video is kind of, this is what inspired this video. And there's nothing wrong with this book at all. I think it's great. It's wonderful. Ronald Kelly's writing is amazing. It's Father's Little Helper by Ronald Kelly, aka 12 Gauge. I got to 128, and I decided just to stop where I was. Not because it was bad, not at all, because this book is fantastic. I thoroughly am enjoying this book. But it's not like it has to do with Christmas. Sorry for anyone who doesn't celebrate Christmas, but this has to do with Christmas. And basically this kid is having like these hallucinations, and he's seeing his father, and his father's instructing him to finish what he started. So he's got to go back to Tennessee, and he lives in Ohio, and he's driving back down to Tennessee to go kill all the people that survived in the church massacre. I forget what they called it in the book, but I just call it the church massacre because it happened in a church. And sorry, I had to stop my dog. She keeps playing with this lid, and it's making tons of noises. Basically, I got I want to say 30% done with this book, and when I stopped, it's almost a new year now. Christmas has passed, and I fell out of the Christmas spirit very quickly this year. Usually it kind of lasts until January, but this time I just I don't know. Definitely a book I want to pick up again, though. I want to pick it up way before next Christmas. I'm hoping maybe much sooner. At the latest, I want to start this book in November, and then finish this sometime in December, but that's at the latest. I would like to start this book way earlier than that, because this is a fantastic read. The only reason why I DNF'd it is because I'm just not in the mood for a Christmas story, and it's really brutal. It's a brutal Christmas story. But Christmas is involved, so I'm just kind of out of the spirit and kind of out of it. I just don't, that's how I am. That's how I operate. I just fall out of season, and then I fall out of the book I'm reading. So that's why I try to read books, for me, pretty quickly. I read very slow. But I try to finish them quick because, I try to spend a lot of time reading, because I know as soon as the seasons change, so do my interests. So it's always been like that. One part of the year I'm into basketball, the next I'm super big on hockey. I play, I'll play one video game, then all of a sudden I'm infatuated with another one or a different console altogether. Or I just switch moods entirely and go from some nerdy guy or a jock to a goth. I just switch on a dime. My personality changes throughout the year. And so do my tastes in books, apparently. So Christmas ended, season's kind of over. Winter hasn't ended, but this isn't really a winter read. It's a Christmas read. It's about this kid who goes down to Tennessee and shoots a bunch of people up. And for some reason, I'm just not really into it right now. So today I made the decision to put it down and take a break from it and start reading something else. I haven't chosen what I'm going to read next, but I have a huge TBR pile, and I'm currently listening to an audiobook called Different Seasons by Stephen King. I made the executive decision to do that and listen to The Body by Stephen King. Right now I'm listening to The Shawshank Redemption. which is a very good story so far, but it's very long and I kind of want it to end so I can start. Well, there's 2 stories ahead of the body, so it's going to take a while for me to get to the body. I don't know where the body starts, so I can't skip to it. Excuse me. The audiobook goes by chapters, and sorry, I got hair on my tongue. Jamesy sheds like crazy. What was I going with this? I totally forgot my train of thought. But anyways, this is about. I don't know if I told you what this is about, but this is about. Well, I did tell you what it's about, but it's a very interesting story. His writing is very good. There was this one brutal scene where I was like flipping through the pages pretty quickly, and I was like, oh my gosh, is he gonna do it? Is he gonna do it? And then he did it, and I was like surprised. I don't know why I was surprised. For some reason I thought the kid was more innocent than he let on, but obviously no, he's pretty brutal. He's a, yeah. So anyways, this is definitely a book I want to pick up sometime next year. I'll probably read it around Christmas time again, to be honest. But I plan on picking it up much earlier than that, maybe even January when I finish whatever I'm going to finish next. I was talking about the audiobook. I'm trying to listen to The Body and do a review on The Body, but it looks like I'm going to be doing a review on the whole different seasons book. So be on the lookout for that soon. I'm listening to The Shawshank Redemption, then it will be Apt Pupil. I don't know if that's appointment or apartment or what that means, but it's Pupil. And then The Body happens, and then I don't even know what the next story is called or novella. But The Body is what I'm bought this audiobook for. And then just to come to find that he actually has the whole audiobook for each story in the collection for free on his website. So that kind of bummed me out because I just spent like $20 on this audiobook and it's for free on his website. So, and it separates each story so you can just start at whatever story you want to start at, which is awesome. And I'm not doing it that way because I already bought this freaking audiobook, so I'm gonna listen to that audiobook. So yeah, that's besides the point. Father's Little Helper. I'm putting it down right now. I'm putting it down. It's really hard for me to do this. But there I go. Put it down. It's really hard for me to put down a book. Even when I'm hating it, I have an issue where I feel like the author deserves me like a proper review, and I have to finish books, but I found out this year that life is too short to keep reading something you're not enjoying. And I learned that with Richard Lehman's Bite. I read 370 something pages and I had to put the book down. I read too much. I should have gave up much earlier. And I've been putting books down a lot more now and coming back to them. I've put a bunch of books down that I have no intention of coming back to. So, if you were on this list of books I'm coming back to, bravo. House of Illusions by Ruby Jean Jensen, I plan on coming back to. I plan on coming back to Prank Night by David Robbins, and I plan on definitely coming back to Ronald Kelly's Father's Little Helper, aka 12 Gauge. Ronald Kelly's just that good of a writer that you can't just give up on him. On his books, but I'm out of the mood, out of the Christmas spirit. He shot up with like a nativity scene, and I just felt really like nothing because I don't really care about Christmas right now. That's just me though. These are books that I DNF'd that I plan on rereading, or not rereading, but starting back up sometime next year. I did this with Fear, where I started in the summer. I got like 100 pages in, then in November I picked it back up and finished like 300 pages in no time. So it's not that the book is bad. These 3 books are good. I believe they're good, and I believe they deserve not a second chance per se, but they deserve to be finished. So I'm going to be finishing these books sometime next year. Like I said, it was inspired by Father's Little Helper. I just put it down today. I read like a big chunk of it and just wasn't in the mood for a Christmas horror story. So yeah, and the last thing I want to show you guys is these cool bookmarks. They're a little destroyed ever since I received them. I received these when I was going through chemotherapy a long time ago, 2012. These kids at a local school, or not a local school, but a school in Florida, donated these they made these bookmarks and then donated them to us, and I grabbed a bunch of them, and I thought it was a really sweet thing. I didn't read books at the time, but I grabbed these bookmarkers and said to myself, one day I'm going to use them, and I think that time has finally come. Here's one of the bookmarks. It is absolutely destroyed, but it was an owl. You can see the little eyebrow there. There was one on the other side. There was another leg. There was a beak. It's absolutely destroyed through storage, but I still saved it. I thought it was a very generous thing that the school did for us, cancer patients. Here's another one. This one's more intact. It even has the kid's name on the back. Yeah, I was right. It's middle school in Florida. Here is Hannah Chisholm's bookmark. I thought this was cool. I'm definitely going to use these. This one also had someone's name on the back, but it's gone now. So it's really sad that I can't shout whoever made this bookmark out. I just found these and thought I'd put this in a video, that it was really nice for whoever made these 8 years ago. Wow. It's been 8 years, so that person's far graduated by now. Like, they've graduated. So shout out to Hannah Chisholm for this bookmark. You may be watching this. Who knows? But yeah, these are, like I said, this is a video of DNF books that I plan on finishing next year. So it's not technically did not finish, because I plan on finishing them. So good job for making this list, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys have a great day. I hope you have a spooky night, and I will see you in the next video. Bye, guys.